The king took the ring from Haman's hand and gave it to Mordecai to rule the land. Esther fell down at the master's feet with a plea for her people, so bitter and sweet. Write a new decree in the king's own name to quench the fire and the rising flame, the decree of light on the swiftest steed. To every province, to every need, the Jews had the right to stand and to fight in the golden glory of the afternoon light. Mordecai walked out in robes of blue and white, with a crown of gold so radiant and bright. In every city and in every street, the sound of the celebration was so soft and sweet. Joy and honor and a holiday song in the house of the people where they belong. The signet ring, decree of light, stay chill in the victory. The king took the ring from Haman's hand and gave it to Mordecai to rule the land. Esther fell down at the master's feet with a plea for her people, so bitter and sweet. Write a new decree in the king's own name to quench the fire and the rising flame, the decree of light on the swiftest steed. To every province, to every need, the Jews had the right to stand and to fight in the golden glory of the afternoon light. Mordecai walked out in robes of blue and white, with victory. Before her turn to go to the king, the days were filled with every precious thing. 6 months of oil, of myrrh so sweet, 6 months of perfumes to make it complete. In the house of the women, the time drifted by under the gaze of the afternoon sky. 12 months of beauty, a season of grace, preparing the heart and the soul and the face. Whatever she asked for was given to hold, more than the jewels or the vessels of gold, waiting in silence for the moment to come, to the rhythmic beat of a distant drum. In the evening she went, in the morning she came to the second house with a hidden name, finding her peace in the cooling shade as the plans of the heavens were quietly made. Myrrh and perfume, 12 months of beauty, stay chill in the fragrance. In the 3rd year of the great king's reign, from India to Kush, across the mountain and plain, 180 days of the kingdom's pride, with the glory of the palace open wide, curtains of white and blue fastened with silver rings, under the shadow of the great king's wings. Wine was served in vessels of gold, a wealth and a power that's never been told. Gold and silver couches on a marble floor as the afternoon light spills through the door, drinking in abundance according to the law, a scene of a glory that the world once saw. The gardens were blooming in the Susa heat, with the sound of the fountains, so cool and so sweet. No one was forced, everyone was free in the heart of the empire, by the king's decree. Wine and golden cups, the banquet of Susa. Stay chill in the palace.
Have mercy on me, O God, in your kindness so deep. For the promises broken and the secrets I keep. Blot out my transgressions, wash me white as the snow. For my sin is before me, wherever I go. Against you and you only have I done this wrong. In the middle of the night and the middle of the song, create in me a clean heart, O God. On the path of the Spirit that the ancients trod, renew a right spirit deep within my breast, to find in your presence a moment of rest. Do not cast me away from your holy light, turning the darkness into the side. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit's cry, a contrite heart you will not deny. Restore to me the joy of your grace in the quiet reflection of your holy face. A broken heart, create in me a clean heart. Stay chill in the mercy. He provided for himself a chariot and men, 50 runners before him, again and again. He rose in the morning by the way of the gate to meet with the people and decide on their fate. If I were the judge, I would give you the right with a kiss on the hand and a smile so bright. Absalom at the gate, stealing the hearts with the charm of the spirit and the master of arts. The king has no deputy to hear your plea while he sowed the seeds of the destiny. 4 years of the whispers, 4 years of the pride, turning the nation to the brother's side. With a vow and a lie, under the gaze of the afternoon sky, the trumpet was blown through the hills and the plain. Absalom is king, was the cry of the rain. Absalom at the gate, stealing the hearts. Stay chill as the rebellion starts. Whoa, 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 whoa. 2 full years of a silence so deep, waiting for the harvest and the shearing of sheep. Absalom invited the sons of the king to the fields of the north, where the memories cling. When Amnon is merry with the heart of the wine, strike him down was the brother's design. Absalom's revenge in the middle of the feast, set in the blood and the anger released. The princes all fled on their mules through the dust, leaving the ruins of the family trust. A brother for a sister, a life for a life, in the middle of the hunger and the heavy strife. Oh, He fled to the mountains of a foreign land, far from the reach of his father's hand. David mourned for his son every single day, as the years of the exile started to play. Absalom's revenge, the shearing of sheep. Stay chill in the reckoning. Go up to Hebron, the Lord said to his son. The years of the desert were finally done. The men of Judah came, and they anointed him there with the scent of the blessing in the afternoon air. 7 years in the south, then all the tribes came. We are your bone and your flesh, we honor your name. Anointed at Hebron, under the golden sun, a journey of faith that has only begun. You shall shepherd my people, the Master had said, with the crown of the kingdom on his weary head. 30 years of age, as the story took flight, turning the shadow into the light. He made a covenant in the presence of God on the holy ground that his fathers had trod. From the smallest of houses to the greatest of thrones, building a kingdom from the spiritual stones. Anointed at Hebron, King of all Israel, stay chill on the throne. "30,000 men gathered in the sun to bring back the glory that the Master had won. They set the ark on a brand new cart, with a song in the spirit and a joy in the heart. But the holiness burned and the sorrow was deep, when the secret of the presence was too heavy to keep. Arrival of the ark and the weight of the hand, moving the presence across the dry land. 3 months in the house of Obed-Edom's gate, while the king was waiting for the hands of fate. When the blessing was seen, they brought it with praise in the golden reflection of the ancient days. 6 steps they walked, then they offered a sign, touching the border of the glory divine. No longer the fear, but the wonder and grace in the quietest moment of the Master's face. Arrival of the ark, the house of Obed-Edom stayed chill in the holiness, in the holiness.
Is there death in my father's heart? The prince asked his friend. Wait by the stone of Ezel until the message I send. I will shoot 3 arrows in the cool of the day, as a sign if you stay or if you fly away. The feast was empty and the king's anger burned, as the destiny of a nation was quietly tinned. Arrows of the field
flying through the air,
a signal of departure
and a silent prayer.
Hurry, be quick, do not stay in this place. As the tears started falling on a brother's face, they kissed one another in the field of the grain, knowing the world would never be the same. Go in peace, Jonathan said with a sigh. Under the gaze of the afternoon sky, the Lord is between us for the years to come, to the rhythmic beat of the holy drum. Arrows of the field, signal of departure. Stay chill in the fleet. They returned to the city, and they found only smoke under the weight of a heavy dark yoke. The wives and the children were taken away in the bitter chill of the cooling day. The people were weeping till they had no more strength, measuring the soul in the spirit's own length. Ashes of Ziklag and the bitter regret under a sun that was ready to set. But David found strength in the Lord on high, under the gaze of the empty sky. Pursue them, said the Master, you shall surely win. Turn in the sorrow to the fire within. He recovered it all in the middle of the fight, turning the darkness into the light. The heart of a leader that is forged in the dust, building the iron and building the trust. Ashes of Ziklag, strengthened in the Lord. Stay chill in the recovery. They returned to the city, and they found only smoke under the weight of a heavy dark yoke. The wives and the children were taken away in the bitter chill of the cooling day. The people were weeping till they had no more strength, measuring the sorrow in the spirit's own length. Ashes of Ziklag and the bitter regret under a sun that was ready to set. But David found strength in the Lord on high, under the gaze of the empty sky. Pursue them, said the Master, you shall surely win. Turning the sorrow to the fire within. He recovered it all in the middle of the fight, turning the darkness into the light. The heart of a leader that is forged in the dust, building the iron and building the trust. Ashes of Ziklag, strengthened in the Lord, stay chill in the recovery. In the halls of the palace, where the shadows are long, something was shifting in the heart of the song. And then the prince was sick with desire, burning his soul in a forbidden fire. He trapped his own sister with a lie and a plan, the darkest of deeds for a royal man. The shattered peace and the cry in the night, as the honor of Tamar vanished from sight. She put ashes on her head and tore her royal robe, the loneliest soul on this spinning globe. Do not take this to heart, her brother Absalom said, while the seeds of a vengeance were starting to spread. King David was angry, but he did not speak. The power of the Father was silent and weak. A house divided by the sin and the pride, with a ghost in the hallway that had nowhere to hide. The shattered peace, Tamar's ashes, stay chill in the tragedy. was ruddy and handsome, with beautiful eyes, a soul that was reflected in the morning skies. Arise and anoint him, the Lord said, lo, for this is the one that I've come to know. The oil flowed down in the silence of the room, washing away the shadow and the gloom. Chosen in the dust to wear a royal crown before the world and the people of the town, the Spirit of the Lord came mightily that day to guide the young shepherd on a different way. A secret of the heart, a promise for the years, through the golden laughter and the quiet tears. He went back to the sheep, but he wasn't the same, carrying the fire and the holy name. The future was waiting in the cooling air, leaving the timing in the Master's care. The anointing, chosen in the dust, stay chill in the calling. He fled to the desert, to the rocks and the dust, building the iron and building the trust. In the cave of Adullam, he hid from the light. In the middle of the shadows, in the chill of the night, those in distress and those in the dead gathered around him with a spirit of regret. Captain of the broken in the home group of stone, leading a people that the world had disowned. 400 men with a soul so lean, the strangest army that the world has ever seen. from the palace of gold to the cave of the grave, waiting for the morning of a brand new day. He became their leader, and he became their friend. In the quiet of the mountain, where the spirits depend, strength in the weakness, and light in the dark, carrying the promise and the holy spark. Cave of Adullam, captain of the broken, stay chill in the sanctuary.
The king stayed at the gate while the army went out to the edge of the forest with a battle shout. Deal gently for my sake with the young man there, a father's plea in the morning air. But the woods were thick and the ground was deep, a secret of the battle that the forest would keep. The forest of Ephraim in the golden blue light, where the two kingdoms met in the fight. The trees took more than the edge of the blade. In the tangled shadow and the bitter shade, the rebellion was broken by the hands of the brave, walking the border of the spirit and the grave. Divided, a family torn in the heavy silence of the early morn. The fate of the crown and the heart of the sun in a battle of shadows that had only begun. The forest of Ephraim, the clash of two kingdoms, stay chill in the struggle. Stay chill in the struggle. deep in the rocks of the wild goat's land, with the dust of the desert and the shifting sand. Saul entered the cave in the middle of the day, not knowing the hunters were just steps away. David's men whispered, "The Lord gives him to you." But the heart of the shepherd was steady and true. The corner of the road in the palm of his hand, a silent witness across the dry land. I will not lift a finger against the chosen king. Under the shadow of the Father's wing, mercy in the cave, in the cooling of the light, turning the vengeance into the sight. He followed him out, and he cried to the king, "Look at this trophy that the shadows bring. I could have taken the life from your breast, leaving the judgment for the master to rest." The corner of the road, mercy in the cave, stay chill in the forgiveness. The king sat in his house of cedar and gold, while the ark of the presence stayed out in the cold. I will build him a temple, he said to the seer, but the word of the master started to draw near. You will not build a house for my spirit to stay, but I will build you a kingdom that won't pass away. A house for my name, and a throne for the years. Through the golden laughter and the quiet tears, your son shall build the temple of stone and of wood, but your line shall remain for what's only good. An eternal covenant
in the afternoon light, turning the promise into the sight. David sat before the Lord with a heart so small. Who am I, Master, that you'd give me this call? From the back of the sheepfold to the crown of the land, established forever by your powerful hand, a house for my name. The eternal covenant, stay chill in the promise. The king stayed at the gate while the army went out to the edge of the forest with a battle shout. Deal gently for my sake with a young man there, a father's plea in the morning air. But the woods were thick and the ground was deep, a secret of the battle that the forest would keep. The forest of Ephraim in the golden blue light, where the two kingdoms met in the fight. The trees took more than the edge of the blade in the tangled shadow and the bitter shade. The rebellion was broken by the hands of the brave, walking the border of the spirit and the grave. A nation divided, a family torn, in the heavy silence of the early morn. The fate of the crown and the heart of the sun, in a battle of shadows that had only begun. The forest of Ephraim, the clash of two kingdoms, stay chill in the struggle. In the spring of the year, when the kings go to war,
David stayed in the city and the palace of yore. He rose from his bed in the cooling of day, while the shadows of evening were starting to play. From the roof of the palace he saw there, washing her beauty in the heavy warm wind, the rooftop at sunset and the gaze of the eye, under the gold of the Palestinian sky. Bathsheba was her name, the wife of the brave. A moment of fire that a kingdom could crave. The shepherd was lost in the desire and pride, turning away from the Spirit as guide. He sent for the woman in the middle of night, turning the darkness into the sight. The first step of the fall on the floor of the stone, a secret of the heart that was newly known. Rooftop at sunset, the gaze of Bathsheba, stay chill in the temptation.
News came from Gilboa in the break of the day that the king and the prince had both passed away. Tell it not in Gath, in the streets of the old, for the greatest sorrow that could ever be told. David tore his robes and he wept for the dead, with the heavy ashes upon his own head. How the mighty have fallen in the middle of night. The weapons of war have vanished from sight. Jonathan, my brother, your love was so deep, a promise of heaven that I'm happy to keep. Deeper than a woman's and stronger than pride, with the soul of a hero walking by your side. The beauty of Israel
is slain on the hill, leaving the world so empty and still. The song of the bow for the people to sing under the shadow of the Father's wing. How the mighty have fallen. The song of the bow, stay chill in the morning. Amen. A giant stood tall on the side of the hill, with the voice of the thunder that was meant to kill. The armies were trembling in the valley of fear, until the young shepherd started to draw near. I don't need the armor, I don't need the sword, I come in the name of the only Lord. The stone and the sling in the afternoon sun, a battle of fate that has already been won. 5 smooth stones from the bed of the brook, with a steady hand and a steady look, the giant fell down in the golden blue dust, turning the shadow into the trust. Victory was loud, but the heart was so still, following the Spirit in the Father's will. From the fields of the sheep to the valley of might, walking through the darkness to find the sight. The valley of Elah, the stone and the sling, stay chill in the courage. They said you can't enter, the blind and the lame will turn you away and mock at your name. But David took the heights of the Jebusite hill by the strength of the Spirit and the Father's will. He dwelt in the fortress and he built it all round on the holy mountain and the hallowed ground, the stronghold of Zion in the golden blue haze, where the glory of Israel would spend all its days. The city of David and the palace of wood, for a king who was seeking for what's only good. He became greater and greater as the years went by. Under the gaze of the afternoon sky, Hiram of Tyre sent the cedar and men to build up the house of the shepherd again. He knew that the Lord had established his way in the quiet reflection of a brand new day. The stronghold of Zion, city of David, stay chill in the fortress. These are the last words of the Jesse son, the race of the Spirit that was finally won. The Spirit of the Lord spoke by my tongue of all the melodies that I have ever sung. He who rules over men must be just and be wise, like the morning sun in the cloudless skies. The sweet psalmist of Israel is going to rest with the peace of the Father in his weary breast, an eternal covenant that will never depart, written in the Spirit and the human heart. From the hills of the sheep to the crown of the gold, the greatest of stories that was ever told. He slept with his fathers in the city of light, leaving the darkness for the eternal sight. The harp is silent, but the song is still here, watching the blessing of the Master grow near. The sweet psalmist, the last song of the shepherd. Stay chill in the kingdom.
Nathan looked at David with a steady, cold eye. Thou art the man under the empty sky. I anointed you king, I saved you from the sword. Why have you despised the word of the Lord? You killed Uriah with the edge of the blade, and took his wife in the shadow you made. Thou art the man, and the secret is known. From the roof of the palace to the heart of the throne, the sword shall never depart from your house. For the blood of the brave and the stolen spouse, you did it in secret, but the Lord will display your shame to the world in the light of the day. David fell to his knees. I have sinned, he said low, as the tears of the Spirit started to flow.
The Lord has put away the death from your soul, but the child shall fade to make you whole. Thou art the man, the sword shall never depart. Stay chill in the truth. In the light of day.
Is there anyone left of the house of the King to whom I can show what the mercy can bring? For the sake of Jonathan, my brother and friend, with a love and a loyalty that will never end. They found Mephibosheth in the land of the dry, lame in his feet and a tear in his eye. The table of the King in the gold and blue light, where the broken find favor in the middle of sight. Do not be afraid, for you'll eat at my board. All the land of your father shall be fully restored. A seat for the humble in the palace of state, in the quietest moment of a beautiful fate.
He dwelt in Jerusalem like the king's own son, for the sake of a promise that had already been won. Kindness is a river that flows from the heart, giving the broken a brand new start. Kindness for Jonathan's sake, the table of the King stayed chill in the mercy. He numbered the people with a spirit of pride, leaving the wisdom of the master aside. His heart began to smite him when the morning was new. I have sinned greatly to do. Gad the seer came with a word from the sky, 3 choices of judgment before the sun is high. between the hands of God. I choose to fall, for His mercy is great, and He hears every call. Let me not fall into the hands of a man under the shadow of the Father's plan. The plague stayed its hand at the threshing floor as the king began to worship at the master's door. He bought the altar for a price that was fair, offering the sacrifice in the afternoon air. I will not offer what cost me no thing under the protection of the Father's wing, between the hands of God. The threshing floor, stay chill in the repentance. Giant stood tall on the side of the hill, with the voice of the thunder that was meant to kill. The armies were trembling in the valley of fear, until the young shepherd started to draw near. I don't need the armor, I don't need the sword, I come in the name of the only Lord. The stone and the sling in the afternoon sun, a battle of faith that has already been won. 5 smooth stones from the bed of the brook, with a steady hand and a steady look. The giant fell down in the golden blue dust, turning the shadow into the trust. The victory was loud, but the heart was so still, following the Spirit and the Father's will. From the fields of the sheep to the valley of might, walking through the darkness find the sight. valley of Elah, the stone and the sling. Stay chill in the courage. Nabal was a fool with a heart of a stone, refusing the kindness that the shepherd had shown. But Abigail heard, and she moved with a grace to save the household and the ancient place. She came with the bread and the wine and the fruit to stop the anger that was taking a root. The wisdom of Abigail in the golden blue light, preventing the bloodshed in the middle of sight. Do not bring this burden upon your own name, quenching the fire and the rising flame. A soul full of beauty and a mind so clear, casting away every shadow of fear. David blessed her senses and he blessed her way in the quieted reflection of a brand new day. A lesson in patience, a lesson in peace, watching the trouble and the anger cease. The wisdom of Abigail, grace and good senses. Stay chill in the diplomacy.
Job saw that the king's heart was torn, for the son in the exile and the spirit forlorn. He brought in a widow from the Tekoa land with a story of sorrow that he had carefully planned. We are like water spilled on the ground, which cannot be gathered or ever they found. Spilled water on the ground in the golden blue light, a plea for the mercy in the middle of sight. God devises a way for the outcast to return. As the heart of the father started to burn, the king gave the word, bring the young man home under the shadow of the palace dome.
He returned to the city, but he didn't see the face of the king who had given the moment of grace. 2 years in the shadow of the palace wall, waiting for the answer and the master's call. The woman of Tekoa spilled water on the ground. Stay chill in the diplomacy. Nathan looked at David with a steady cold eye. Thou art the man under the empty sky. I anointed you king, I saved you from the sword. Why have you despised the word of the Lord? You killed Uriah with the edge of the blade, and took his wife in the shadow you made. Thou art the man, and the secret is known. From the roof of the palace to the heart of the throne, the sword shall never depart from your house. For the blood of the brave and the stolen spouse, you did it in secret, but the Lord will display your shame to the world in the light of the day. David fell to his knees. I have sinned, he said low, as the tears of the Spirit started to flow. The Lord has put away the death from your soul, but the child shall fade to make you whole. Thou art the man, the sword shall never depart. Stay chill in the truth. He sent for Uriah from the heat of the fight to cover the shadow and the deeds of the night. But the soldier was faithful.
he slept at the gate. How can I rest while my brothers meet fate? So the king wrote a letter with a seal of the gold, the darkest of stories that could ever be told. The letter of death in the soldier's own hand, carrying the judgment across the dry land. Put him in the front where the battle is deep, a secret of blood that the palace would keep. Uriah fell down by the wall of the town as the honor of the king came tumbling down. Bathsheba mourned, then she became his wife. But the Lord saw the evil and the taking of life. The child was born in the shadow of sin, as the judgment of heaven was about to begin. The letter of death, Uriah's honor, stayed chill even in the dark.
A messenger came with a word for the king. The hearts of the people to the sun now cling. So David said to all, rise and let us flee before the sword of the sun falls on you and me. He left the city that he loved so well under the shadow of a heavy spell. On the Mount of Olives, in the afternoon light, walking with the shadows and the chill of the night. His head was covered and his feet were bare, with the sound of the weeping in the heavy air. Every step he took was a step in the dust, building the iron and building the trust. Send back the ark,
he said to the priest, until the anger of the storm has ceased, if I find favor in the Master's eye, he will bring me back before I die. The Mount of Olives, weeping as they go, stay chill in the Exodus.